Hello, my name is Jay Newland, and I have the distinct honor and privilege of serving as the president of the Concord Players. Welcome, and thank you for joining us in our event today. As some of you may know, the Players can trace its roots back to 1857, when Louisa May Alcott and her sister Anna founded the Concord Dramatic Union. The union became the Concord Dramatic Club, which ultimately in 1919 became the Concord Players. So we've celebrated not only 100 years of residence here at 51 Walden, but also our 100th anniversary. In honor of our patron saint, the Players has produced an adaptation of Little Women every 10 years since 1932, so I hope to see you here very soon. The Concord Players is very proud of its continuous record of providing quality theater to the citizens of Concord and the surrounding areas. We produce 3 award-winning productions each season, and through our Concord Traveling Troupe, numerous performances at local nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Each summer, on the lawn of the Concord Public Library, our All the Worlds of Play stage players present the works of William Shakespeare, and we provide material support to the fully productionized and costume productions of Opera 51. Unfortunately, since March of 2020, like all other theaters, we've been dark and unable to provide live theater to the public. Unfortunately, our expenses are still high as we continue to maintain the facility here at 51 Walden, which was listed on the National Registry of Historic Buildings in 2007, and are actually facing a significant deficit in the tens of thousands of dollars, which is why I'm here, to ask for your financial support so we can continue the legacy that Louisa May Alcott started so many years ago, and to continue to provide quality theater, which brings our community together in experiencing shared feelings of drama, tragedy, joy, laughter. As an integral part of the vibrant Concord arts scene, our nonprofit status means your donation is tax deductible. Please go to our website, concordplayers.org. Click on the donate button and see how you can help us. I appreciate any assistance you can provide, and thank you for your contribution. We miss you all very much and can't wait to see you at the theater.
Le plaisir du militaire, il est là-bas, à 2 pas de la forêt. Une maison au mur tout couvert de lierre, au vrai poilu, c'est le nom du cabaret.
As I remember, it was upon this fashion bequeathed me by will but poor 1,000 crowns, and charged my brother to breed me well. And there begins my sadness. My brother stays me here at home, unkept. For call you that keeping for a gentleman of my birth? His horses are bred better. But I, his brother, gain nothing under him but growth, for the which his animals on his dunghills are as much bound to him as I. This is it that grieves me. Oh, and the spirit of my father, which I think is within me, begins to mutiny at this servitude. I will no longer endure it, though yet I know no wise remedy how to avoid it.
Now, sir, what make you here?
Nothing. I am not taught to make anything.
What mar you then, sir?
Marry, sir, helping you to mar that which God hath made. A poor, unworthy brother of yours, with idleness.
Marry, sir, be better employed and be not a while.
Well, shall I keep your hogs and eat husks with them? What prodigal portion have I served that I should come to such penury?
Know you where you are, sir?
Oh, very well, sir. Here in your orchard.
Know you before whom, sir?
Aye, better than him I am before knows me. I know you are my eldest brother. Well, the courtesy of nations allows you my better in that you are the firstborn. But that same tradition takes not away my blood, where there are 20 brothers betwixt us. I have as much of my father in me as you. I am no villain. I am the youngest son of Sir Roland de Bois, and he was my father. He is thrice a villain that says such a man begot villains. My father charged you in his will to give me good education. You have trained me like a peasant, obscuring and hiding from me all gentlemanlike qualities. The spirit of my father grows strong within me. I will no longer endure it. Therefore, allow me such exercises as may become a gentleman, or give me the poor lottery my father left me by testament. With that, I will go and buy my fortunes.
And what wilt thou do? Beg when that is spent? Well, sir, get you in. I will not be long troubled with you. You shall have some part of your will. I pray you leave me.
I will no further offend you than becomes me for my good.
Is it even so? Begin you to grow upon me? I will physic your rankness, and yet give no 1,000 crowns either.
Good morrow to your worship.
Good Monsieur Charles, what's the new news at the court?
Oh, there is no news at the court, sir, but the old news. That is, the old duke is banished by his younger brother, the new duke, and 3 or 4 loving lords then put themselves into voluntary exile with him, whose lands and revenues enrich the new duke. Therefore he gives them good leave to wander.
Can you tell if Rosalind, the duke's daughter, be banished with her father?
Oh, no, for the duke's daughter, her cousin, so loves her, being ever from their cradles bred together, that she would have followed her exile, or have died to stay behind. She is at the court, and no less beloved of her uncle than his own daughter, and never 2 ladies loved as they do.
Where will the old duke live?
They say he is already in the forest of Arden, and many a merry men with him, and there they live, like the old Robin Hood of England. They say many young gentlemen flock to him every day, and fleet the time carelessly as they did in the golden world.
What, you wrestle tomorrow before the new duke?
Marry, I do, sir. I am given, sir, secretly to understand that your younger brother Orlando hath a disposition to come in disguised against me to try a fall. Tomorrow, sir, I wrestle for my credit, and he that escapes me without some broken limb shall acquit him well. Your brother is but young and tender, and for your love I would be loath to foil him, as I must for mine own honor if he come in. Therefore, out of my love to you, I come hither to acquaint you withal, that either you might stay him from his intendment, or brook such disgrace well as he shall run into. in that it is a thing of his own search and altogether against my will.
I had myself notice of my brother's purpose herein, and have by underhand means labored to dissuade him from it, but he is resolute. I'll tell thee, Charles, it is the stubbornest young fellow of France, full of ambition, an envious emulator of every man's good parts, a secret and villainous contriver against me, his natural brother. Therefore, use thy discretion. I had a lief thou didst break his neck as his finger, and thou wert best look to it. For if thou dost him any slight disgrace, or if he do not mightily grace himself on thee, he will practice against thee by poison, entrap thee by some treacherous device, and never leave thee till he have taken thy life by some indirect means or other. For I assure you, and almost with tears as I speak it, there is not one so young and so villainous this day living. I speak but brotherly of him. But should I anatomize him to thee as he is, I must blush and weep, and thou must look pale and wonder.
I am heartily glad I came hither to you. If he come tomorrow, I'll give him his payment. God keep your worship.
Farewell, good Charles. Now will I stir this gamester. I hope I shall see an end of him, for my soul, yet I know not why, hates nothing more than he. Yet he's gentle, never schooled, and yet learned, full of noble device, and indeed so much in the heart of the world, and especially of my own people, that I am altogether misprized. But it shall not be long. The wrestler shall clear all. Nothing remains but that I kindle the boy thither.
I pray thee, Rosalind, sweet my coz, be merry.
Dear Celia, I show more mirth than I am mistress of, and would you yet I were merrier? Unless you could teach me how to forget a banished father, you must not learn me how to remember any extraordinary pleasure.
Herein I see thou lovest me not with the full weight that I love thee. If my uncle, thy banished father, had banished thy uncle, the Duke, my father, so thou hadst still be with me, I could have taught my love to take thy father for mine. So wouldst thou, if the truth of thy love were so righteously tempered to mine as is to thee.
Well, I will forget the condition of my estate to rejoice in yours.
You know my father hath no child but I. Truly, when he dies, thou shalt be his heir. For what he hath taken from your father perforce, I'll render to thee again in affection, my sweet Rose. My dear Rose, be merry.
From henceforth I will, coz, and devise sports. Let me see, what think you of falling in love?
Marry, I prithee, do to make sport withal.
What shall be our sport then?
Let us sit and mock the good housewife Fortune from her wheel, that her gifts may henceforth be bestowed equally.
I would we could do so, for her benefits are mightily misplaced, and the bountiful blind woman must mistake in her gifts to women.
'Tis true. For those that she makes fair, she scarce makes honest, and those that she makes honest, she makes very ill-favoredly.
Well, nay, now thou goest from Fortune's office to Nature's. Fortune reigns in the gifts of the world, not in the lineaments of nature.
No? When nature hath made a fair creature, may she not by fortune fall into the fire? Though nature hath given us flout to wit, hath not fortune sent this fool to cut us off in the argument. Here comes Madame Labelle.
With her mouth full of news.
She will put on us as pigeons feed their young.
And then we shall be news crammed.
All the better. We shall be more marketable. How now, wit? Whither wander you?
Fair princess, you have lost much good sport.
Sport? Of what color?
What color, madam? You amaze me, ladies. I would have told you of good wrestling which you have lost the sight of.
Well, yet tell us the manner of the wrestling.
I will tell you the beginning, and if it please your ladyships, you may see the end, for the best is yet to do. And here, where you are, they are coming to perform it. There comes an old man with his 3 sons. The eldest of these wrestles with Charles, the Duke's wrestler, and Charles, in a moment, threw him and broke 3 of his ribs, that there is little hope of life left in him. So he served the second, and so the third. Yonder they lie, the poor old man, their father, making such pitiful dole over them that the people take his part with weeping.
Alas.
It is the first time I ever heard of breaking of ribs was sport for ladies.
But is there any else longs to see this broken music in his sides? Is there yet another dotes upon rib breaking? Shall we see this wrestling, cousin?
You must if you stay here, for here is the place appointed for the wrestling, and they're ready to perform it.
Oh, yonder, sure they are coming. Let us stay now and see it.
Come, on. Since the youth will not be entreated, his own peril on his forwardness.
Is yonder the man?
Alas, he's too young, yet looks successfully.
Now, daughter and cousin, are you crept hither to see the wrestling?
Aye, my liege, so please you give us leave.
You will take little delight in it. I can tell you, there is such odds in the man. In pity of the challenger's youth, I would fain dissuade him, for he will not be entreated. Speak to him, ladies. See if you can move him.
Call him hither, good Madame Labelle.
Do so. I'll not be by.
Monsieur, the challenger, the princess calls for you.
I attend with all respect and duty.
Young man, have you challenged Charles the wrestler?
No, fair princess. He is the general challenger. I come but in as others do to try him with the strength of my youth.
Young gentleman, your spirits are too bold for your years. You have seen cruel proof of this man's strength. If you saw with your own eyes or knew yourself with your judgment, the fear of your adventure would counsel you to a more equal enterprise. We pray you, for your own sake, to embrace your own safety and give over this attempt.
Do, young sir. Your reputation shall not therefore be misprized. We will make it our suit to the Duke that the wrestling should not go forward.
I beseech you, punish me not with your hard thoughts, wherein I confess me much guilty to deny so fair and excellent ladies anything. But let your fair eyes and gentle wishes go with me to my trial, wherein if I be foiled, there is but one shamed who was never gracious, if killed, but one dead who was willing to be so. I shall do my friends no wrong, for I have none to lament me. The world no injury, for in it I have nothing. Only in the world do I occupy a place which may be better supplied when I've made it empty.
The little strength I have, I would it were with you.
And mine, to eke out hers.
Fare you well. Pray heaven I be deceived in you.
Your heart's desires be with you.
Come, where is this gallant youth that is so desirous to lie with his mother earth?
Come, sir.
Oh, excellent young man.
If I had a thunderbolt in mine eye, I can tell who would down.
No more. No more!
Yes, I beseech your grace, I am not yet well breathed.
How dost thou, Charles?
He cannot speak, my lord.
Bear him away. What is thy name, young man?
Orlando, my liege, the youngest son of Sir Roland de Bois.
I wouldst thou hadst been son to some man else. The world esteemed thy father honorable, but I did find him still mine enemy. Thou shouldst have been better pleased with this deed hadst thou descended from another house. But fare thee well. Thou art a gallant youth. I wouldst thou hadst been of another father.
Were I my father, cause would I do this?
I am more proud to be Sir Rowland's son, his youngest son, and would not change that calling to be adopted heir to Frederick.
My father loved Sir Rowland as his soul, and all the world was of my father's mind.
Let us go thank him and encourage him. My father's rough and envious disposition sticks me at heart. Sir, you have all well deserved if you do keep your promises in love, but justly as you have exceeded all promise, your mistress shall be happy.
Gentlemen, wear this for me. One out of suits with fortune that could give more, but that her hand lacks means. Shall we go, cuz?
Aye. Farewell, gentlemen.
Can I not say I thank you? Oh, my better parts are all thrown down, and that which stands here is but a quintain, a mere lifeless block.
He calls us back. My pride fell with my fortunes. I'll ask him what he would. Did you call, sir? Sir, you have wrestled and overthrown more than your enemies.
Will you go, cause?
Yes, have with you. Fare you well.
What passion hangs these weights upon my tongue? I cannot speak to her, yet she urged conference. Oh, poor Orlando, thou art overthrown.
Good sir, I do in friendship counsel you to leave this place, albeit you have deserved high commendation, true applause, and love. Yet such is now the Duke's condition that he misconstrues all that you have done.
Oh, I thank you, ma'am, and pray you, tell me this. Which of the two was the daughter of the Duke that was here at the wrestling?
Neither his daughter, if we judge by manners. But yet indeed the lesser is his daughter. The other is daughter to the banished Duke, and here detained by her usurping uncle to keep his daughter company, whose loves are dearer than the natural bond of sisters. But I can tell you that of late this Duke hath ta'en displeasure against his gentle niece, grounded upon no other argument but that the people praise her for her virtues and pity her for her good father's sake. And on my life, his malice against the lady will suddenly break forth. Sir, fare you well. Hereafter, in a better world than this, I shall deserve more love and knowledge of you.
I rest much bounden to you. Fare you well. Thus must I from the smoke unto the smother, from tyrant Duke unto tyrant brother. But heavenly Rosalind.
Why, cousin? Why, Rosalind? Cupid have mercy, not a word?
Not one to throw at a dog.
No, thy words are too precious to be cast upon curs. Throw some at me, lame me with reasons.
Then there were two cousins laid up, when the one should be lamed with reasons and the other mad without any.
But is all this for your father?
No. Some of it is for my child's father. Oh, how full of briars is this working day world.
They are but burrs, cousin, thrown upon thee in holiday foolery. Come, wrestle with thy affections.
Oh, they take the part of a better wrestler than myself.
Oh, a good wish upon you. You will try in time in despite of a fall. But turning these jests out of service, let us talk in good earnest. Is it possible, on such a sudden, you should fall into so strong a liking with old Sir Roland's youngest son?
The Duke, my father, loved his father dearly.
Doth therefore ensue that you should love his son dearly?
Let me love him for that, and do you love him because I do. Oh, look, here comes the Duke.
With his eyes full of anger.
Mistress, dispatch you with safest haste and get you from our court.
Me, uncle?
You, cousin, within these 10 days, if thou beest within 20 miles of our public court, thou diest for it.
I do beseech your grace, let me the knowledge of my fault bear with me. Dear uncle, never did I, in so much as a thought unborn did I offend your highness.
Thus do all traitors. If their purgation did consist in words, they are as innocent as grace itself. Let it suffice thee that I trust thee not.
Yet your mistrust cannot make me a traitor. Tell me whereon the likelihood depends.
Thou art thy father's daughter, that is enough.
So was I when your highness took his dukedom. So was I when your highness banished him. Treason is not inherited, my lord. Or if we derive it from our friends, what's that to me? My father was no traitor. Then, good my liege, mistake me not so much to think my poverty is treacherous.
Dear sovereign, hear me speak.
Aye, Celia, we stayed her for your sake. Else had she with her father been ranged along.
I did not then entreat to have her stay, but now I know her. If she be a traitor, why, so am I. We still have slept together, rose at an instant, learned, played, eat together, and wheresoever we went like Juno swans, still we went coupled and inseparable.
She is too subtle for you. and her smoothness, her very silence and her patience speak to the people who pity her. Thou art a fool. She robs thee of thy name, and thou wilt show more bright and seem more virtuous when she is gone. Then open not thy lips. Firm and irrevocable is my doom, which I have passed upon her. She is banished.
Pronounce that sentence then on me, my liege. I cannot live without her company.
You are a fool. You, niece, provide yourself. And if you outstay the time upon my honor and in the greatness of my word, you die.
Oh, my poor Rosalind, whither wilt thou go? Wilt thou change fathers? I will give thee mine. I charge thee, be not thou more grieved than I am.
I have more cause.
Thou hast not, cousin. Prithee, be cheerful. Thou knowest not the Duke hath banished me, his daughter.
That he hath not.
No, hath not. Rosalind then lacks the love which teaches thee that thou and I are one. Shall we be sundered? Shall we part, sweet girl? No. Let my father seek another heir. Therefore devise with me how we may fly, whither to go, and what to bear with us. And do not seek to take your change upon you to bear your griefs yourself and leave me out.
Why, whither shall we go?
To seek my uncle in the forest of Arden.
Well, alas, what great danger will be to us, maids as we are, to travel forth so far. Beauty provoketh thieves sooner than gold.
I'll put myself in poor and mean attire, and with a kind of umber smirch my face, and the like do you. So shall we pass along and never stir the assailants.
Were it not better that I did suit me all points like a man? A gallant curtle axe upon my thigh, a boar spear in my hand, and in my heart lie there what hidden woman's fears there will. We'll have a swashing and a marshal outside, as many other mannish cowards have that do outface it with their semblances.
What shall I call thee when thou art a man?
I'll have no worse a name than Jove's own page, and therefore look you call me Ganymede. But what will you be called?
Something that hath a reference to my state. No longer Celia, but Eliana. Let's away and get our jewels and our wealth together, devise the fittest time and safest way to hide us from pursuit that will mate us after my flight. Now go we in content to liberty and not to banishment.
Hath not old custom made this life more sweet than that of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? Here feel we but the penalty of Adam, the season's difference, as the icy fang and churlish chiding of the winter's wind, which when it bites and blows upon my body, even till I shrink with cold, I smile and say, this is no flattery. These are counsellors that feelingly persuade me what I am. Sweet are the uses of adversity, which, like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head. And this, our life exempt from public haunt, finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything.
I would not change it. Happy is your grace that can translate the stubbornness of fortune into so quiet and so sweet a style.
Come, shall we go and kill us venison? And yet, it irks me the poor dappled fools, being native burghers of this desert city, should in their own confines with forked heads have their round haunches gored.
Indeed, my lord, the melancholy Jaques grieves at that, and in that kind swears you do more usurp than doth your brother that hath banished you. Today I did steal behind him as he lay along under an oak, to the which place a poor sequestered stag that from the hunter's aim had ta'en a hurt, did come to languish, and the big round tears coursed one another down his innocent nose in piteous chase. And thus the hairy fool, much marked of the melancholy Jaques, stood on the extremest verge of the swift brook, augmenting it with tears.
But what said Jaques? Did he not moralize this spectacle?
Poor dear, thou makest testament as worldlings do, giving thy sum of more to that which had too much. 'Tis right. Thus misery doth part the flocks of company.
Anon, a careless herd, full of the pasture, jumps along by him and never stays to greet him.
Aye, sweep on, you fat and greasy citizens. 'Tis just the fashion. Wherefore do you look upon the poor and broken bankrupt here?
Thus, most invectively he pierceth through the body of the country, city, court, yea, and of this our life, swearing that we are mere usurpers, tyrants, and what's worse, to fright the animals and to kill them up in their assigned and native dwelling place.
Show me the spot. I love to cope him in these sullen fits, for then he's full of matter.
Can it be possible that no man saw them? It cannot be. Some villains of my court are of consent and sufferance in this.
I cannot hear of any that did see her. The ladies, her attendants of her chamber, saw her abed, and in the morning early they found the bed untreasured of their mistress. Hesperia, the princess's gentlewoman, confesses that she secretly overheard your daughter and her cousin much commend the parts and graces of the wrestler that did but lately foil the sinewy Charles, and she believes wherever they are gone, the youth is surely in their company.
Send to his brother. Fetch that gallant hither. Let not search and inquisition quail to bring again these foolish runaways.
O unhappy youth, come not within these doors, within this roof, the enemy of all your graces lives, your brother. No brother, yet not the son. I will not call him son of him I was about to call his father. Hath heard your praises, and this night he means to burn the lodging where you used to lie, and you within it? If he fail of that, he will have other means to cut you off. What? Wouldst thou have me go and beg my food, or with a base and boisterous sword enforce a thievish living upon the common road? Oh, I rather will subject me to the malice of a diverted blood and bloody brother. Oh, but come thy ways, and ere we have our youthful wages spent, we'll lot upon some settled low content.
Jupiter, how merry are my spirits! I could find in my heart to disgrace my man's apparel and to cry like a woman. But I must comfort the weaker vessel, as doublet and hose ought to show itself courageous to petticoat. Therefore, courage, good Aliena!
I pray you, bear with me. I cannot go no further.
Oh, look you, who comes here? A young man and an old in solemn talk.
That is the way. To make her scorn you still?
O Corin, that thou knewst how I do love her.
Oh, I partly guess, for I have loved ere now.
Though, Corin being old, thou canst not guess. Though in thy youth thou wast as true a lover as ever sighed upon a midnight pillow. But if thy love were ever like to mine, as sure as I think did never man love so, how many actions most ridiculous hast thou been drawn to by thy fantasy?
Into 1,000 that I have forgotten.
Oh, thou didst then ne'er love so heartily, if thou rememberst not the slightest folly that ever love did make thee run into. Oh, Phoebe, Phoebe, Phoebe!
Oh, alas, poor shepherd. Searching of thy wound, I have by hard adventure found mine own. Jove, Jove, this shepherd's passion is much upon my fashion.
I pray you, question yon man if he for gold will give us food. I faint almost to death.
Peace, I say. Good even to you, friend.
And to you, gentle sir, and to you all.
I pray thee, shepherd, if that lover gold can in this desert place buy entertainment, bring us where we may rest ourselves and feed. Here's a young maid with travel much oppressed and faints for succor.
Well, fair sir, I pity her and wish for her sake more than for mine own. My fortunes were more able to relieve her. But I am a shepherd to another man, and do not share the fleeces that I graze. My master is of churlish disposition, and little recks to find the way to heaven by doing deeds of hospitality. Besides his coat, his flocks and bounds of feed are now on sale, and at our sheepcote now, by reason of his absence, there is nothing that you will feed on. But what is? Come, see, and in my voice, most welcome shall you be.
What is he that shall buy his flock and pasture?
Well, that young swain that you saw here but a while, that little cares for buying anything.
I pray thee, if it stand with honesty, buy thou the cottage, pasture, and flock, and thou shalt have us to pay for it.
And we will mend thy wages. I like this place and will willingly waste my time in it.
Oh, assuredly the thing is to be sold. Oh, go with me, if you like, upon report, the soil, the profit, and this kind of life. I will your very faithful feeder be, and buy with it your gold right suddenly.
Pour le repos, le plaisir de militaire, il est là-bas à 2 pas de la forêt. Une maison, une couverture, au Tuleron, c'est le nom de cabaret. La jeune est jolie, léger comme papillon, comme son venin, son œil voiture. Nous l'appelons le Madelon. Nous l'appelons, mais oui, ce n'est que nous y posons le jour. Ce n'est que Madelon, mais pour nous c'est l'amour. Comme Madelon.
More, I prithee more.
Oh, it will make you melancholy, Monsieur Jake.
I thank it. More, I prithee more. I can suck melancholy out of a song as a weasel sucks eggs. More, I prithee, more.
My voice is ragged. I know I cannot please you.
I do not desire you to please me. I desire you to sing. Will you sing?
More at your request than to please myself.
Well then, if I ever thank a man, I'll thank you.
Well, I'll end the song. The Duke will drink under this tree. He hath been all this day to seek you.
And I have been all this day to avoid him. He is just too disputable for my company. I think of as many matters as he, but I give heaven thanks and make no boast of them. Come, warble, come. Quand Madelon vient nous servir à boire, sous la tonnelle on frôle ce jupon.
Et chacun lui raconte histoire, une histoire à sa façon. La Madelon, bon, nous n'est pas sévère. Quand lui prend le taille au menton, et le risque tout le mal sait faire. Madelon, Madelon, Madelon.
Why, how now, monsieur? What a life is this, that your poor friends must woo your company? What, you look merrily.
A fool. Fool. A fool. I met a fool in the forest. A motley fool. A miserable world. He drew a dial from his poke, and looking on it with lackluster eye, says very wisely, it is 10 o'clock. Thus we may see, quoth he, how the world wags. 'Tis but an hour ago since it was 9, and after an hour more 'twill be 11. And so from hour to hour we ripe, and from hour to hour we rot, and thereby hangs a tale. When I did hear the motley fool thus moral on the time, my lungs began to crow like a chanticleer. That fool should be so deep contemplative, and I did laugh sans intermission an hour by his dial. Oh, noble fool!
What fool is this?
Oh, worthy fool! One that hath been a courtier, and his brain, which is dry as the remainder biscuit after a voyage, he hath strange places crammed with observation, the which he vents in mangled forms. Oh, that I were a fool!
Thou shalt have one.
It is my only suit, provided that you weed your better judgments of all opinion that grows rank in them, that I am wise. I must have liberty withal, as large a charter as the wind, to blow on whom I please. For so fools have. Invest me in my motley, Give me leave to speak my mind, and I will through and through cleanse the foul body of the infected world, if they will patiently receive my medicine.
Fie on thee! I can tell what thou wouldst do.
What, for counter, would I do but good?
Most mischievous foul sin in chiding sin. For thou thyself hast been a libertine, as sensual as the brutish sting itself, and all the embossed sores and headed evils that thou with license of free foot hast caught, wouldst thou disgorge into the general world.
Forbear, and eat no more.
Why, I've ate none yet.
And shalt not till the necessity be served.
Of what kind should this cock come off?
Art thou thus boldened, man, by thy distress? Or else a rude despiser of good manners, that in civility thou seemst so empty?
You touched my vein at first. The thorny point of bare distress hath ta'en from me the show of smooth civility. Yet I am inland bred and know some nurture. But forbear, I say. He dies that touches any of this fruit till I and my affairs have been answered.
What would you have? Your gentleness shall force, more than your force move us to gentleness.
I almost die for food, and let me have it.
Sit down and feed, and welcome to our table.
Speak you so gently? Oh, pardon me, I pray you. I thought that all things had been savage here, and therefore I put on the countenance of stern commandment. But let gentleness my strong enforcement be, in which case I blush and hide my sword.
True is it that we have seen better days, and have with holy bell been knolled to church, and sat at good men's feasts, and wiped our eyes of drops that sacred pity hath engendered. And therefore sit you down in gentleness, and take upon command what help we have, that to your wanting may be ministered.
I thank ye, and be blessed for your good comfort.
Thou seest we are not all alone unhappy. This wide and universal theatre presents more woeful pageants than the scene wherein we play in.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 pages. First the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel, and his shining morning face creeping like snail unwillingly off to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. And then the soldier, full of strange oaths, and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even to the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and a pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, that ends this strange and eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Welcome, fall to. I will not trouble you as yet to question you about your fortunes. Give us some music, and good cousin, sing.
La victoire en chantant.
If that you were the good Sir Rowland's son, as you have whispered faithfully you were, and as mine eye doth his effigies witness, most truly limbed and living in your face, be truly welcome hither. I am the Duke that loved your father. The residue of your fortune go to my cave and tell me. Give me your hand, and let me all your fortunes understand.
Not see him since. Sir, that cannot be. Find out thy brother, wherever he is, seek him with candle, bring him dead or living within this 12 months, or turn thou no more to seek a living in our country. Thy lands, and all things that thou dost cost thine, worth seizure do we seize into our hands, till thou canst quit thee by thy brother's mouth of what we think against thee.
Oh, that my highness knew my heart in this. I never loved my brother in my life.
Hang there my verse, in witness of my love. And thou, thrice-crowned queen of night, survey with thy chaste eye from thy pale sphere above thy huntress's name that my full life doth sway. Oh, Rosalind, these trees shall be my books, and in their barks my thoughts I'll character, that every eye which in this forest looks shall see thy virtue witnessed everywhere. Run, run, Orlando, carve on every tree the fair, the chaste and unexpressive she.
I am a true laborer. I earn that I eat, get what I wear. Owe no man hate, envy no man's happiness, glad of other men's good, content with my harm. And the greatest of my pride is to see my ewes graze and my lambs suck. Well, here comes young Master Ganymede, my new mistress's brother.
From the east to western Ind, no jewel is like Rosalind. Her worth being mounted on the wind through all the world bears Rosalind. All the fair pictures fairest lined are but black to Rosalind. Let no fair be kept in mind but the fair of Rosalind.
Upon the fairest boughs or at every sentence end, will I, Rosalinda, write, teaching all that read to know the quintessence of every sprite heaven would in little show. Therefore, heaven nature charged that one body should be filled with all graces wide enlarged. Didst thou hear those verses?
Oh, yes.
But didst thou hear, without wondering, how thy name should be hanged and carved upon these trees?
I was 7 of the 9 days out of the wonder before you came, for look here what I found on a palm tree.
Trow, you who hath done this?
Is it a man?
And a chain that you once wore about his neck. Change you color.
I prithee who?
Oh, Lord, Lord. Is it a hard matter for friends to meet? But mountains may be removed with earthquakes so encounter.
Nay, but who is it?
Is it possible?
Nay, I prithee with most petitionary vehemence, tell me who it is.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, and most wonderful, wonderful, and yet again wonderful, and after that, all out whooping.
I prithee, tell me who it is quickly and speak apace. I would thou couldst stammer that thou mightst pour this concealed man out of thy mouth as wine comes out of a narrow-mouthed bottle, either too much at once or none at all. I prithee, take the cork out of thy mouth, that I may drink thy tidings.
So you may put a man in your belly.
Oh! Is he of God's making? What manner of man? Is his head worth a hat, or his chin worth a beard?
Nay, he hath but a little beard.
Why, God will send more, if the man will be thankful. Let me stay the growth of his beard, if thou delay me not the knowledge of his chin.
It is young Orlando that tripped at the wrestler's heels, and your heart, both in an
say. Oh, but the devil take mocking. Speak, sad brow and true maid.
Faith, cause it is he.
Orlando.
Orlando.
Oh, alas the day! What shall I do with my doublet and hose? What did he say when thou sawest him? What said he? How looked he? Wherein went he? What makes he here? Did he ask for me? Where remains he? How parted he with thee? And when shalt thou see him again? Answer me all in one word.
You must borrow me Gargantuan's mouth first. 'Tis a word too great for any mouth of this age's size.
But doth he know that I am in this forest in man's apparel? Looks he as freshly as he did that day at the wrestling?
It is as easy to count atomies as to resolve the proportions of a lover, but take a taste of my finding him and relish it with good observance. I found him under a tree like a dropped acorn.
It may well be called Jove's tree when it drops such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There lay he, stretched along like a wounded knight.
Oh, that would be pity to see such a sight. It well becomes the ground.
He was furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous. He comes to kill my heart.
I would sing my song without a burden. Thou bringest me out of tune.
Do you not know I am a woman? When I think, I must speak. Sweet, say on.
You bring me out, soft. Comes he not here?
Does he slink by and note him?
I thank you for your company, but good faith, I had as lief been left myself alone.
And so had I, but yet, for fashion's sake, I thank you too for your society.
God by you. Let's meet as little as we can.
I do desire we be better strangers.
I pray you, mar no more trees with writing love songs in their barks.
I pray you, mar no more of my verses with reading them ill-favoredly.
Rosalind is your love's name?
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
There was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened.
What stature is she of?
Just as high as my heart.
You are full of pretty answers. Will you sit down with me? And we two will rail against our mistress, the world, and all our misery.
I will chide no breather in the world but myself, against whom I know most faults.
The worst fault you have is to be in love.
It is a fault I will not change for your best virtue. Oh, I am weary of you.
I'll tarry no longer with you. Farewell, good Signor Love.
I am glad of your departure. Adieu, good Monsieur Melancholy.
I will speak to him like a saucy lackey, and under the habit play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forester?
Oh, very well. What would you?
I pray, what is it o'clock?
You should ask me what time of day. There's no clock in the forest.
Ah, then there is no true lover in the forest, else sighing every minute and groaning every hour would detect the lazy foot of time as well as a clock.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
With this shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest, like fringe on a petticoat.
Are you a native of this place?
As Coney, as the Coney that you see dwell where she is kindled.
Your accent is something finer than you could purchase in so removed a dwelling.
I have been told so of many, but indeed an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak, who was in his youth an inland man, one that knew courtship too well, and for there he fell in love. I have heard him read many lectures against it, and I thank God I am not a woman to be touched with so many giddy offenses as he hath generally tacked on their whole sex withal.
Well, can you remember any of the principal evils that he laid to the charge of women?
Well, there were none principal. They were all like one another as halfpence are, every one fault seeming monstrous till his fellow fault come to match it.
Oh, I prithee, recount some of them.
No, I will not cast away my physic, but on those that are sick. There is a man haunts this forest that abuses our young plants with carving Rosalind on their barks, hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, all, forsooth, deifying the name of Rosalind. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
So I am he that is so love-shaked. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
There is none of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me how to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not prisoner.
Well, what were his marks?
A lean cheek, which you have not. A blue eye and sunken, which you have not. an unquestionable spirit, which you have not, a beard neglected, which you have not, but I pardon you for that, for simply your having a beard is a younger brother's revenue. Then your hose should be ungartered, your bonnet unbanded, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you demonstrating a careless devotion. But you are no such man. You are rather point device in your accoutrements as loving yourself than seeming the lover of any other.
Oh, fair youth, I would I could make thee believe I love.
Me believe it? You may as soon make her that you love believe it, which I warrant she is apter to do than to confess she does. That is one of the points in which women still give the lie to their consciences. But in good sooth, are you he that hangs the verses on the trees wherein Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to thee, youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am he, that unfortunate he.
But are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Oh, neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness, and I tell you, deserves as well a dark house and a whip as madmen do. And the reason why they are not so punished and cured is that the lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. Yet I profess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I set him every day to woo me. At which time would I, being but a moonish youth, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something and for no passion truly anything, would now like him, now loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him. That I drave my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and to live in a nook merely monastic. And thus I cured him, and this way will I take upon me to wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, that there shall be not one spot of love on it.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you, if you would but call me Rosalind and come every day to my cote and woo me.
Now, by the faith of my love, I will. Tell me where it is.
Go with me to it, and I'll show you, and by the way, you shall tell me where in the forest you live. Will you go?
With all my heart, dear youth.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind. Never talk to me, I will weep.
Tears do not become a man.
But have I not cause to weep?
As good as a cause as one would desire. Therefore weep.
Why did he swear he would come this morning and comes not?
Nay, certainly there is no truth in him.
Do you think so? Not true in love?
Yes, when he is in, but I think is not in.
You heard him swear downright he was.
Was, is not is. He attends here in the forest on the Duke, your father.
I met the Duke yesterday and had much question with him. He asked me of what parentage I was. I told him of as good as he. So he laughed and let me go. But what talk we of fathers when there is such a man as Orlando?
Oh, that's a brave man. He writes brave verses, speaks brave words, swears brave oaths, and breaks them bravely. But all's brave that youth mounts and folly guides. Who comes here?
Mistress and master, you have oft inquired about the shepherd that complained of love, who you saw sitting by me on the turf, praising the proud, disdainful shepherdess that was his mistress.
Well, and what of him?
If you will see a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain, go hence a little, and I shall conduct you, if you will mark it.
Oh, come, let us remove. The sight of lovers feedeth those in love. Bring us to this sight, and you shall say I'll prove a busy actor in their play.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. Do not, Phoebe. Say that you love me not, but say not so in bitterness. The common executioner, whose heart the accustomed sight of death makes hard, falls not the axe upon the humbled neck, but first begs pardon. Will you sterner be than he that dies and lives by bloody drops?
I would not be thy executioner. I fly thee. I would not injure thee. Thou tellest me there is murder in mine eyes. 'Tis pretty sure and very probable that eyes that are the frailest and softest thing, who shut their coward gates and anatomies, should be called tyrants, butchers, murderers. Now I do frown on thee with all of my heart, and if my eye can wound, now let them kill thee. Now, counterfeit to swoon, or why not fall down, or if thou canst not, for shame, lie not to say that my eyes are murderers. Now, show me the wound that my eye hath made in thee. Scratch thee with a pin, and there remains some scar of it, but now mine eyes which have darted at thee hurt thee not. Now I am sure there is no force in eyes that can do hurt.
Oh, dear Phoebe, if ever as that ever may be near, you meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then shall you know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time, come not now near me, and when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks, pity me not. Until that time, I shall not pity thee.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother that you insult, exult, and all at once over the wretched? What though you have no beauty, as by my faith I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed? Must you therefore be proud and pitiless? What means you this? Why do you look upon me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's sail work. Odds my little life, I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No, faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. You, foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her? You are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. 'Tis fools such as you that make the world full of ill-favored children. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her. And out of you she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But mistress, know yourself. Down on your knees and thank heaven, fasting, for a good man's love. For I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell when you can. You are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer.
Sweet youth, I pray you chide a year together. I'd rather hear chide than this man woo.
He's fallen in love with your foulness, and she'll fall in love with my anger. If it be so, as fast as she answers thee with frowning looks, I'll sauce her with bitter words. Why look you so upon me?
For no ill will I bear you.
I pray you, do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not. Will you go, sister? Shepherd, ply her hand. Come, sister. Shepherdess, look on him better, and be not proud. Though all the world could see, none could be so abused in sight as he. Come to our flock.
Sweet Phoebe.
Hi, what sayest thou, Silvius?
Sweet Phoebe, pity me.
Why, I am sorry for thee, gentle Silvius.
Wherever sorrow is, relief would be. If you do sorrow at my grief in love, by giving love your sorrow and my grief were both extermined.
Thou hast my love, is that not neighborly?
I would have you.
Why, that were covetousness. Silvius, there was a time that I hated thee, and yet it is not that I bear thee love, but since that thou can talkest of love so well, thy company, which is erst irksome to me, I will endure and employ thee too. But do not look for further recompense than thy own gladness that thou art employed.
So holy and so perfect is my love, and I in such a poverty of grace, that I shall think it a most plenteous crop to glean the broken ears after the man that the main harvest reaps. Loose now, and then a scattered smile, and well, that I'll live upon.
knowest now the youth that spoke to me erewhile?
Not very well, but I have met him oft, and he hath bought the cottage and the bounds that the old carlet once was master of.
Think not that I love him, though I do ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy. Yet he talks well. But what do I care for words? Yet words do well that he that speaks them pleases those to hear. It is a pretty youth. Not very pretty, but sure he's proud. And yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did offense, his eyes did heal up. He's not very tall. Yet for his years he's tall, and his leg is so-so, and yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip, and a little riper and more lusty in the mix of his cheek. 'Twas just the difference between the constant red and the mingled damask. There be some women, Silvius, that have marked him in parcels as I did, that would have gone near to fall in love with him, but for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. And yet, I do have more cause to hate him than to love him, for what he had to chide at me, and marvel why I did not answer. But that is all one. A minute is no quittance. I'll write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Silvius?
Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it straight. What's matter in my head and in my heart, it'll be bitter with him in passing short. Go with me, Silvius.
They say you are a melancholy fellow.
It is so. I do love it more than laughing.
Those that are in extremity of either are abominable fellows and betray themselves to every modern censure worse than drunkards.
Why, 'tis good to be sad and say nothing.
Why, then, 'tis good to be a post.
I have neither the scholar's melancholy, which is emulation, nor the musician's, which is fantastical, nor the courtier's, which is proud, nor the soldier's, which is ambitious, nor the lawyer's, which is politic, nor the lady's, which is nice, nor the lover's, which is all of these. But it is a melancholy of mine own, compounded of many simples, extracted from many objects, and indeed, the sundry contemplation of my travels, which my often rumination wraps me in a most humorous sadness.
By my faith, you have great reason to be sad. I fear you have sold your own lands to see other men's. Then to have seen much and to have nothing is to have rich hands and poor eyes.
Yes, I have gained my experience.
Farewell.
Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
Why, how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while? You, a lover? And you serve me with such another trick, never come in my sight more.
My fair Rosalind, I come within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love? He that will divide a minute into 1,000 parts and break but a part of the 1,000th part of a minute in the affairs of love. It may be said of him that Cupid hath clapped him on the shoulder, but I'll warrant him heart whole.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, and you be so tardy, come no more in my sight. I had as lief be wooed of a snail.
Of a snail?
I of a snail. For though he comes slowly, he carries his house on his head. A better jointure, I think, than you make a woman. Come, woo me, for I am now in a holiday humor, and I like enough to consent. What would you say to me now, and I were your very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you were better to speak first, and you were gravelled for lack of matter, you might take occasion to kiss. Very good orators, when they are out, they will spit, and for lovers lacking, God warn us, matter the cleanliest shift is to kiss.
How if the kiss be denied?
Well, then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins new matter.
Who could be out being before his beloved mistress?
Mary, that should you, if I were your mistress, or I should thank my honesty rather than my wit.
What of my suit?
Not out of your apparel, yet out of your suit. Am I not your Rosalind?
I take some joy to say you are, because I would be talking of her.
Well, in person I say I will not have you.
Then in mine own person I die.
No, faith, die by attorney. The poor world is almost 6,000 years old, and in all this time there was not any man died in his own person, videlicet in a love cause. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I would not have my right Rosalind of this mind, for I protest her frown might kill me.
By this hand, it would not kill a fly. But come now, I will be your Rosalind in a more coming on disposition, and ask me what you will, I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faith will I, Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why then, can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister, you shall be the priest and marry us.
Oh, pray thee, marry us.
I cannot say the words.
You must begin. Will you, Orlando?
Go to. Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
Aye, but when?
Why now, as fast as she can marry us?
Then you must say, I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I must ask you for your commission, but I do take thee, Orlando, for my husband.
So do all thoughts, they are winged.
Now tell me, how long would you have her after you had possessed her?
Oh, forever and a day.
Say a day without the ever. No, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the sky changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over his head, more clamorous than a parrot against rain, more newfangled than an ape, more giddy in my desires than a monkey. I will swing for nothing, like Diana in the fountain, and I will do that when you are disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hyena, and that when thou art inclined to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
By my life, she will do as I do.
Oh, but she is wise.
Or else she could not have the wit to do this, the wiser, the waywarder. Make the doors upon a woman's wit, and it will out at the casement. Shut that, and 'twill out at the keyhole. Stop that, and 'twill fly with the smoke out the chimney.
A man that had a wife with such a wit, he might say, wit whither wilt.
Nay, you might keep that check for it till you meet your wife's wit going to your neighbor's bed.
And what wit and what wit could wit have to excuse that?
Mary, to say she came to seek you there. You shall never take her without her answer unless you take her without her tongue. Oh, that a woman cannot make her fault her husband's occasion. Let her never nurse her child herself, for she will breed it like a fool.
For these 2 hours, Rosalind, I will leave thee.
Alack, dear love, I cannot lack thee 2 hours.
I must attend the Duke at dinner. By 2 o'clock, I will be with thee again.
Aye, go your ways. I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as much, and I thought no less. That flattering tongue of yours won me. 'Tis but one cast away, and so, come, death. 2 o'clock is your hour?
Aye, sweet Rosalind.
By my troth, in good earnest, and so God mend me, and by all the pretty oaths that are not dangerous, If you break one jot of your promise or come 1 minute behind your hour, I will think you the most pathetical break promise and the most hollow lover and the most unworthy of her you call Rosalind, that you may be chosen out of the gross band of the unfaithful. Therefore beware my censure and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou wert indeed my Rosalind, so adieu.
You have simply misused our sex in your love brait. We must have your doublet and hose plucked over your head and show the world what the bird hath done to her own nest.
My pretty little cuz, that thou didst know how many fathoms deep I am in love. Ah, but it cannot be sounded. My affection hath an unknown bottom, like the Bay of Portugal. I'll tell thee, Eliana, I cannot be out of the sight of Orlando. I'll go find a shadow and sigh till he come.
And I'll sleep.
How say you now? Is it not past 2 o'clock? And here, much Orlando.
I warned you, with pure love and troubled brain, he hath taken his bow and arrows and is gone forth to sleep. Oh, look who comes here.
My errand is to you, fair youth. My gentle Phoebe bid me give you this. I know not the contents, but as I guess by the stern brow and waspish action which she did use as she was writing of it, it bears an angry tenor. Pardon me, I am but a guiltless messenger.
She says I am not fair, that I lack manners. She calls me proud, and that she could not love me were men as rare as phoenix. Odds my will, her love is not the hare that I do hunt. Why writes she so to me? Well, shepherd, this is a letter of your own device.
No, I protest. I know not the contents. Phoebe did write it.
Come. You are a fool and turned into the extremity of love. I saw her hand. I say she never did invent this letter. This is a man's invention and his hand.
Sure, it is hers.
Why, 'tis a boisterous and cruel style, a style for challengers. Women's gentle brain could not drop forth such giant rude invention. Will you hear the letter?
So please you, for I never heard it yet heard too much of Phoebe's cruelty.
She Phoebes me. Mark how the tyrant writes. Art thou, God, to shepherd turned, that a maiden's heart hath burned? Can a woman rail thus?
Call you this railing?
Why, thy Godhead laid apart, warrest thou with a woman's heart? Did you ever hear such railing? Whiles the eye of man did woo me, that could do no vengeance to me, meaning me a beast. If the scorn of your bright eyne have power to raise such love in mine, alack in me, what strange effect would they work in mild aspect? Whiles you chid me, I did love, how then might your prayers move? He that brings this love to thee, little knows this love in me, and by him seal up thy mind, whether that thy youth and kind of the faithful offer take of me and all that I can make, or else by him my love deny, and then I'll study how to die.
Call you this chiding?
Oh, alas, poor shepherd.
Do you pity him? No, he deserves no pity. Wilt thou love such a woman? What, to make thee an instrument and play false strains upon thee? Not to be endured. Well, go your way to her, for I see love hath made thee a tame snake. And say this to her, that if she loves me, I charge her to love thee. If she will not, I will never have her unless thou entreat for her. If you be a true lover, hence, and not a word, for here comes more company.
Good morrow, fair ones. Pray you, if you know where in the purliest of this forest stands a sheepcote fenced about with olive trees?
But at this hour the house doth keep itself. There's none within.
If an eye may profit by a tongue, then I should know you by description. such garments in such years. The boy is fair, of female favor, and bestows himself like a ripe sister. The woman low and browner than her brother. Are not you the owner of the house I did inquire for?
It is no boast being asked to say we are.
Orlando doth commend him to you both, and to that youth he calls his Rosalind. He sends this bloody napkin. Are you he?
I am. What may we understand by this?
Some of my shame. If you will know of me, what man I am, and how, and why, and where this handkerchief was stained.
I pray you tell it.
When last the young Orlando parted from you, he left a promise to return again within an hour, and pacing through the forest, chewing the food of sweet and bitter fancy, lo, what befell? He threw his eye aside, and mark what object did present itself. Under an oak, whose boughs were mossed with age, and height-up bald with dry antiquity, a wretched, ragged man lay sleeping on his back. A lioness, with udders all drawn dry, lay couching, head on ground, with cat-like watch, when that sleeping man should store. For 'tis the royal disposition of that beast to prey on nothing that doth seem as dead. This scene, Orlando did approach the man, and found it was his brother, his elder brother.
Oh, I have heard him speak of that same brother, and he did render him the most unnatural that lived among men.
And well he might do so, for well I know he was unnatural.
But to Orlando, did he leave him there, or food to the sucked and hungry lioness?
Twice did he turn his back and purpose so, but kindness nobler ever than revenge, and nature stronger than just occasion, made him give battle to the lioness, who quickly fell before him, in which hurtling from miserable slumber I awaked.
Are you his brother?
Was you he rescued?
Was it you that did so oft to contrive to kill him?
'Twas I.
But for the bloody napkin.
By and by, when from the first to last betwixt us two, tears our recountments had most kindly bathed, as to how I came into that desert place. In brief, he led me to the gentle Duke, who gave me fresh array and entertainment, committing me unto my brother's love, who led me instantly into his cave, there stripped himself, and there upon his arm the lioness had torn some flesh away, while all this while had bled. And now he fainted, and cried in fainting upon Rosalind. Brief, I recovered him, bound up his wound, and being after some small space being strong at heart, he sent me hither, stranger as I am, to tell this story, that you might excuse his broken promise, and to give this napkin dyed in his blood unto the shepherd youth that he henceforth doth call his Rosalind.
Why, how now? Ganymede, sweet Ganymede.
Many will swoon when they do look on blood.
There is more in it, cousin Ganymede.
Look, he recovers.
I would have were at home.
We'll lead you thither. I pray you. Will you follow by the arm?
Be of good cheer, youth. You a man? You lack a man's heart.
I do. I so confess it. Sirrah, a body would think this was well counterfeited. I pray you, tell your brother how well I counterfeited.
This was not counterfeit. There is too great testimony in your complexion that it was a passion of earnest.
Counterfeit, I assure you.
Well then, take a good heart and counterfeit it to be a man.
So I do, but if faith... Oh, I should have been a woman by right.
Come, you look paler and paler. Pray you, draw homewards. Good sir, go with us.
That will I, for I must bear answer back how you excuse my brother, Rosalind.
I'll devise something, but I pray you, commend my counterfeiting to him. Will you go?
Is it possible that on so little acquaintance you should like her? That but seeing you should love her, and loving woo, and wooing she should grant? And will you persevere to enjoy her?
Say with me, I love Aliena. Say with her that she loves me. Consent with both that we may enjoy each other. It shall be to your good for my father's house, and all the revenue that was old Sir Rowland, so will I estate on you, and here live and die a shepherd.
You have my consent. Well, let your wedding be tomorrow. Thither will I invite the Duke and all's contented followers. Go you, and prepare Aliena, for look you, here comes my Rosalind.
God save you, brother.
And you, fair sister.
Oh, my dear Orlando, how it grieves me to see thee wear thy heart in a scarf.
It is my arm.
I thought thy heart had been wounded by the claws of a lion.
Wounded it is, but with the eyes of a lady.
Did your brother tell you how I counterfeited to swoon when he showed me your handkerchief?
Aye, and greater wonders than that.
Oh, I know where you are. Nay, 'tis true, for your brother and my sister no sooner met but they looked, no sooner looked but they loved, no sooner loved but they sighed, no sooner sighed but they asked one another the reason, no sooner knew the reason but sought the remedy, and in these degrees they have made a pair of stairs to marriage. They are in the very wrath of love, and they will together. Clubs cannot part them.
Well, they shall be married tomorrow, and I will bid the Duke to the nuptial. But oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much the more shall I tomorrow be at the height of heart heaviness. But how much shall I think my brother happy in having what he wishes for?
Why then, tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind?
I can no longer live for looking.
I will weary you then no longer with idle talking. Know of me then, for I now speak to some purpose. Believe me, if you please, that I can do strange things. I have, since I was 3-year-old, conversed with a magician, most profound in his art, and yet not damnable. If you do love Rosalind, so near the heart as your gesture cries it out, when your brother marries Aliena, shall you marry her? I know into what straits of fortune she is driven, and it is not impossible to me, if it appear not inconvenient to you, to set her before your eyes tomorrow, human as she is, and without any danger.
Speakest thou in sober meanings?
By my life, I do. Which I tender dearly, though I say I am a magician. Therefore, put you in your best array, bid your friends, for if you will be married tomorrow, you shall, and to Rosalind, if you will. Look, here comes a lover of mine and a lover of hers.
Youth, you have done me much ungentleness to show the letter that I writ to you.
I care not if I have. It is my study to seem despiteful and ungentle to you. You are therefore followed by a faithful shepherd. Look upon him, love him, he worships you.
Good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all observance. And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Why do you speak to, why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not hear.
No more of this. 'Tis like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. I will help you if I can. I would love you if I could. Tomorrow, meet me all together. I will marry you if ever I be married a woman, and I'll be married tomorrow. I will satisfy you if ever I satisfied man, and you shall be married tomorrow. I will content you if what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. As you love Rosalind, meet. As you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. So, fare you well, I have left you commands.
I'll not fail if I live.
Nor I.
Nor I.
Dost thou believe, Orlando, that the boy can do all this that he hath promised?
I sometimes do believe and sometimes do not, as those that fear they hope and know they fear.
Patience once more while our compact is urged. You say, if I bring in your Rosalind, you will bestow her on this Orlando here.
That would I, had I kingdoms to give with her.
And you say you will have her when I bring her?
That would I, were I of all kingdoms king.
You say you'll marry me if I be willing.
That I will, should I die the hour after.
But if you do refuse to marry me, you'll give yourself to this most faithful shepherd.
So is the bargain.
You say that you'll have Phoebe if she will?
Though to have her and death were both one thing.
I have promised, and from hence I go to make all these doubts even.
I do remember in this shepherd boy some lively touches of my daughter's favour.
My lord, the first time I ever saw him, methought he was a brother to your daughter. But my good lord, this boy is forest born.
To you I give myself, for I am yours. To you I give myself, for I am yours.
If there be truth in sight, you are my daughter.
If there be truth in sight, you are my Rosalind.
If sight and shape be true, why then my love adieu.
I'll have no father if you be not he. I'll have no husband if you be not he.
You and you, no cross shall part. You and you are heart in heart. You to his love must accord, or have a woman to your lord. Oh, my dear niece, welcome thou art to me. Even daughter, welcome in no less degree.
I will not eat my word. Thou art now mine, thy faith and fancy to thee doth combine.
Hearing how that every day men of great worth resorted to this forest, I addressed a mighty power, purposely to come to my brother here, to put him to the sword. To the skirts of this wild wood I came. My crown bequeathing to my banished brother, and all lands restored to you again that you were with exile. This be true. I do engage my life
Welcome, young man. First, in this forest, let us do those ends that here were well begun and well begot. And after, every of this happy number that have endured shrewd days and nights with me shall share the good of our returned fortune, according to the measure of their states. Meantime, forget this new-formed dignity and fall into our rustic revelry. Play music! And you, brides and bridegrooms all, with measure heaped in joy, to the measures fall.
You to your former honor I bequeath. Your patience and your virtue deserves it. You to a love that your truth faith doth merit. You to your land and love and great allies. You to a long and well-deserved bed. I am for other than dancing measures.
Stay, J-Quiz. Stay.
To see no pastime I.
Proceed. Proceed. We will begin these rites as we do trust they'll end. In true delight.
Avant la lutte et la souffrance, le poilu était toujours là. Le sac au dos, couvert de terre, oui, c'est lui qui fit nos succès. C'est lui qui a gagné la guerre. Le poilu, le soldat français, c'est lui qui a gagné la guerre. Le poilu, le soldat français.
La victoire en chantant nous ouvre la barrière, la liberté qui de nos pas est une Silence descendez au cercueil.